Welcome back to the Certified Performance YouTube channel. I'm Brad Francis. We're going to go through one of our projects. You haven't seen this one on the channel yet, unless you saw it in the background, kind of in the background. This is our 1956 Ford panel. So this is the condition we found it in the garage in Peoria, where it had been sitting for the better part of 5 decades. No hood, no fenders, no doors. Scrounged the garage, pulled everything together, winched it out of the garage and onto the trailer, and started making our journey all the way back to the shop in Moscow Mills. Since this started as a personal project, we did not film our weekly updates like a normal customer's project would receive on one of these type of jobs. After a long day, we made it back to the shop, got the truck unloaded and pushed into the shop, got everything all cleaned out, started putting our thinking caps on how we wanted this project to turn out, getting our plans together, see what we could do. We started with pulling the old engine and transmission out, getting the old suspension and front solid axle pulled out from underneath the frame rails, getting some measurements taken, getting everything cleaned up, and ready for what we have planned suspension upgrade wise. Now, all of this didn't go to waste. We were able to pull it all apart, put it on a pallet, and sell it to another gentleman so that he could get a different hot rod project back on the road. Now that we have everything cleared off, a nice clean slate to start with, we mocked up the Crown Vic front end. This has become a pretty popular swap. The old frame accepts the new modern suspension. We end up immediately gaining independent front suspension, struts, power steering, big disc brakes, and it all slides right under here, giving you modern steering and braking in a 1956 Ford. The other benefit is we were able to lower the ride height and give it a more aggressive stance that we were looking for this particular project. The panel trucks were never offered with power brake boosters, so we had to do some modifying to make the Crown Vic front and rear disc brakes work on the 56 panel. Part of that modification was shortening the fuel tank by 6 inches to allow room for the brake master cylinder, the vacuum booster assembly to sit under the truck. It also added a pickup for the frame mounted fuel pump and filter assembly that we plumbed in along the frame rail. This service van belonged to a very long-time customer, so we had very good records of maintenance and everything that had been done with this van over the years. This drivetrain was a great fit for what we wanted to do with the panel truck. We pulled everything out of the van, got it all stripped down and prepped, cleaned, ready to go for all the upgrades that we had planned for it. So we started with a good low-profile oil pan, new oil pump from Melling, nothing but the best. New front timing cover, valley plate, put new cam bearings in it because 6-liter LS. New rocker arm trunnion upgrade because 6-liter LS. Reached out to our friend Lloyd at Elliott's Port Works, got a BTR camshaft spec along with valve springs, new lifters. Got all that sent over to Todd at Terry's machine shop. He also did a 3-angle valve job, milled the head slightly, pressure tested obviously, got it all back to us so we could final assemble it with all new gaskets and seals and everything ready to drop back in the frame rail of the 56. For the exhaust, we use stainless headers, mandrel bent exhaust tubing, nice merge, stainless steel flex, and then stainless V-band connections. Kept it a simple Y-pipe setup, tucked up nice and close to the engine, transmission. This thing sits pretty low. We wanted everything tucked up as high as we could, nice and tight. Back through one 3-inch large muffler to reduce any drone or noise going down the road, and finished it off with a very subtle turn down at the end for a classic look. Several times throughout this video, we've referred to consult the manual. What we mean by that is when we picked the truck up in Peoria, physically taped to the side of the panel truck was this piece of paper. This picture, as best we can figure, was the vision or plan for this project, and we've affectionately called it the manual. This became very important when we started putting everything together, trying to determine where all the grille pieces, turn signal lenses, front cowl piece, everything went. We also determined that the left front fender we had was actually for the 56 F100 that was parked in the garage next to the panel truck, but it's what we had, so we put it together for mock-up, got everything on the vehicle, determined what we were missing, and eventually we were able to make a trip to Holt, Missouri, where the F100 went, and found several of the missing pieces that we needed and the correct left front fender. This is the first time it has moved under its own power in several decades. First bath in a very, very long time. We are not body guys. Around here and show you what we got. All right, got the 56 panel up in the air. Walk around to this Ford Crown Vic front suspension setup. Pretty neat deal. We're able to modernize this 50s truck with some disc brakes, power disc brakes, independent front suspension, coilovers, power steering, power rack. We have the rear disc brakes out of that Crown Vic. Also, these leaf springs, they intended this panel truck to work back in the day. There's a lot of leaves here. We've got a lot of suspension dropout that we don't really need with what this thing is going to do, and a lot more load carrying capacity than we need for it. So we're gonna pull a couple of those overload springs out and see if we can get this stance the way we want it to look, make her look a little tougher. Adjust the attitude by adjusting the altitude. Let's go. We wanted to pause the video to let you know that we now have a merch store. So if you like any of these projects that you've seen on our channel, you can go to certifiedperformance.com, check out hats, stickers, hoodies, t-shirts, all designed by our friend over at Lead Sled Digital Fabrication. Go check them out. Okay, we got her back down on the ground and made a big difference. We only took a little over an inch out of ride height in the rear, but gives it just a little bit of rake, but makes a big difference on how overall it looks. Got her sitting down on the new Falcon tires. Decided to go with a 225 55 17 in the front, 235 60 17 in the rear. It's kind of difficult to find a period correct-ish wheel for a 50s panel with this offset, and you know, the front suspension being out of a Crown Vic, it has a different backspacing and offset requirement for wheels. So we found these Mustang wheels, and they've got the, I think, the right look. So that torque thrust-ish look. It's got the nice Ford logo in the middle of it. Fits for our Ford panel truck, even though we've got some generous motors power under the hood. But yeah, we're getting there. Still got to finish up the underdash AC unit, and this thing will have heat, air conditioning, power steering, power brakes. It should be an awesome cruiser. And yeah, we'll see what we can get into next. Stay tuned. Still got some prettying up to do under the hood, all these wires over here. Still got to run the headlight wiring, turn signals. It sounds pretty good. That here is our LS 6 liter with the Holly Terminator X controlling it. There are nice on this side. Our nice big aluminum radiator, big cooling fan. 4L60 transmission, automatic. Back here, still got some tuning to do, but she sounds pretty good. Keep plugging away with her. Testing all the cooling fan operation and everything now, and it seems to be working. Getting everything up to temperature. Said LS power under the hood, 4L60 automatic transmission, 4 to 8.8 in the rear. We're building this with the intent of it being a really cool cruiser, something very reliable, very street friendly. Nice power steering, like I said, heat, air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, and plenty of power. Should be on the road here soon with it. Here's our issue. 56 panel truck keeps running out of fuel when you slowly come to a stop. Pickup way back here at the very back of the tank, very bottom of the tank. Thought that would be enough. It's not. Then we tried returning the fuel from the filter to this T. Apparently that was not enough either. Now we're coming up with a new plan. I'm gonna ditch the frame rail mounted pump and filter and keep the Corvette style regulator filter
We're going to do something a little different with the tank. We're going to take a piece of exhaust tubing, mild steel tubing, a little bit of a bevel on it, and we're going to create our own, basically cut a 4-inch hole here and make a stand like the fuel level sender has, and bolt in a hanger with an in-tank pump, and this will bolt to a ring that Mr. Jeremy over here is cutting with plasma table. We will weld it all back together, weld it all in here, bolt it all together, back in the truck, and we'll test that. Should resolve our issue, but I really thought this would have resolved it, and it did, so keep plugging away at it.
It's already going.
Alright, so that, little long, need to trim that down a little bit. I don't know if this is the right way to fix this, but this is how we're going to fix it. See in there, that is touching the bottom. We're really close to it. Fuel will still be able to get around that. We just need to cut it to length. So now we have our plate, marked all the holes. Fuel pump will be sitting in here. Bolt down there. Output, turn, vent. We will weld, clean this all up and weld this plate to this pipe. Cut this to length of the tank at the angle. And put it all together. All right, step one complete. Got our flange welded, all the holes drilled and tapped. Put a couple other holes in the cylinder for fuel. We'll get this all installed. Weld all that in and test it all out. Getting closer. Okay, here we have the finished product. Not my prettiest welds, but given the material I'm working with, it should do. That's our nice reservoir for the fuel pump to sit in now. Get it all cleaned up, painted, and bolt it all together. Put it back in the panel. Here we go. Okay, got our finished product. It's all bolted together. And put it back in.